The one and only Prince Buster. Does my voice sound funny in the microphone now? I just started shouting. And I don't want to get anyone too excited, but next week will, of course, be our Christmas show.
Yeah.
And we play only Christmas records.
Yeah.
And I've gone and got some extra special ones this year. I found a 3-box set of CDs, all Trojan early reggae and ska Christmas songs.
Right.
Yellow Man doing Black Christmas. Come on. That's got to be worth having.
How many are we going to have of
Trojan? Solid.
What, Trojan Hour?
Oh, it'd be great, wouldn't it? We have with us the gorgeous, the delightful, the ever-amusing Jo Brand. Jo,
I've
good
got
morning.
too excited there, I feel, about news of your Christmas show.
Oh, it's all Christmas records all the way through. Jackson 5 doing Santa Under the Christmas Tree.
Right, I must tune in.
James Brown, Santa's got a brand new bag. That is one, though. That's an extra track. There's another one, Santa Claus Goes Straight to the Ghetto, which is both
Elvis
seasonal
Presley.
and moving. No, that was
James Brown
as well. No, he did In the Ghetto, Elvis.
I know, I just picked up on that ghetto
But isn't that a great
motif.
song? What's going on with your hair this morning, Joe? Looks like you've got a chicken on your head.
I have got a chicken on my head.
Yeah, what's going on there?
I've decided not to have a turkey. But does it look awful?
No, it doesn't look awful.
I'm
It just
not
looks
very
interesting.
well. I'm not well.
Oh, bless. What's wrong with you?
Oh, I don't know. The whole family's gone down with something hideous.
There are so many hideous
See, I
lurgies.
think that there's a lot of very different viruses coming over these days because the weather's warmer. In the old days, you just used to get a cold for a week.
You knew where
Now
you
you
stood.
get a cough, one of your limbs falls off, you get a sort of gastric thing. You get, it's awful. Illnesses are so much more complex these days.
But there seem to be so many varieties to choose from at the moment. It's like the Heinz soup lineup because you got the kids at school that my children go to. One was up all night vomiting. Another one had it coming out the other end. Some of them just look a bit, it's like, really, you can pick and choose.
This one I've got, apparently a chicken comes and roosts on your head.
Well, look at that. It does look very feathery.
Does it?
Yeah. Would you mind turning round for a minute, look away from me and make a clucking noise? I know you've been asked...
Turning round.
Yeah, just turn around. I want to see it from behind. I know... It's like there's a chicken in the room. It's incredible. I wanted to come in and put my hands underneath and lift it
hairdresser
up.
will be so depressed because I said to him, make it look as much like a partridge as you can. And he's done a chicken.
But it's sort of seasonal.
Actually, I say that he's gone to LA to seek his fortune, my hairdresser. So
Has he?
He's not right, yeah.
I suppose that's where you would go if you wanted to. It's kind of mecca for
I
hairdressers.
suppose that's where people are most shallow in the world, isn't it?
Well, speaking of
really?
shallow, I had a bad haircut in LA once, and I was so depressed, I told my wife I was going to throw myself off a balcony.
Now, see, that I know you'll say, oh, well, that figure's looking at your hair with the chicken on it. But to me, the idea of a bad haircut making you suicidal is what's wrong with this society
It shows
today.
you, exactly. I think I've grown a little since then, but I was genuinely so distraught.
Was it that bad?
No, it wasn't even that bad. Looking back, it was perfectly okay. I think there was obviously other issues going on inside me.
Yes, you were. What do they call it in psychology speak? Not sublimating. I'll think of it in a minute.
I was a roiling cauldron of despair. Which is so apt this time of year when so many of us are.
I know.
Yeah, it actually can be an awful time of year because, well, you're past the psychiatric nurse. You must be fully aware of that, I imagine. I bet
Yeah, and I used to work Christmas Day, so I used to see just how appalling people's Christmases were, really.
But I suppose it's that
Said
kind of
she
like...
cheerily.
Well, but when you contextualise it like that, that's when you are aware, of course. It's when it's rubbing up against something when you think, well, you should be happy.
Exactly. It's like Valentine's Day, isn't it?
And New Year's Eve.
And New Year's Eve's the worst, I think.
New Year's Eve can be the worst because you feel under so much pressure to have a good time. And, of course, there's only so many good things you can do.
Exactly.
What are you doing for New Year's Eve in real life, and what have you done for New Year's Eve in the kind of television world?
Right. In real life, I am probably just sitting at home watching on telly what I've done.
Okay.
Actually, I don't watch myself. It's too embarrassing. But what have I done for New Year's Eve? Jules Holland's Hootenanny.
Wow.
Hurrah!
It's always a great night out, and it's always a great show to watch, of course. Who was on?
Desmond Dekker, Primal Scream.
Desmond Dekker. He's still going.
He is.
Does he look okay?
Looks fantastic.
Was he wearing a white suit? He often wears a
No,
white suit.
he was wearing a sort of kind of like combat gear with a beret.
Well, that's very festive.
He looks marvellous.
That's what you want on New Year's Eve. An elderly black fella comes in dressed as Che Guevara, singing Israelites. Did he do Israelites?
Of course.
Of course.
He did. How on earth could he have got
Name another
away
song by
without doing
Desmond
it?
Dekker.
Exactly.
Did he do I Can See Clearly? I know that was a hit for Johnny Mathis, but didn't he ever...
Johnny Nash, that was.
Johnny Nash.
Some bloke. Didn't he come from Cornwall?
Yeah,
who else was on? So you had those two. Primal Scream were great, of course.
Texas, Candy Staton, Lulu. Oh, loads.
Why did you shout, Lulu?
I don't know. Because
she
Lulu
shouts.
shouts.
Did she do shout?
Let's start.
Yes. Just.
Did Candy Staton do Young Hearts Run Free, by any chance?
Now, come on, you're being cynical.
No,
now.
this is what we want to hear. I love a greatest hits tour. That's what they used to do in the old days. When you had a label with a lot of big stars on, they'd do a tour. They'd all come out and do 4 tracks each. 3 hits, 1 newie, off. Bingo, that's all you want.
She did.
She's got a new single out, Candy Staton.
Yeah.
And I gave it a listen. Didn't like the A-side, but the B-side's very good.
Thanks for that.
Oh, I thought I was doing a radio show for a minute. I don't know what
I'd be
came
really
over me.
pleased by that.
Yeah, well, that A-side's rubbish, but the B-side's good. But that sounds like a really nice way to spend a day, I would have thought, and a night, working with
It
Jules.
was a night. And what were the comedy awards like? Because I steered well clear of them again.
I enjoyed the evening. It wasn't just because I won an award. I actually enjoyed being there. You know, often...
Which one did you win?
I won. Well, I won.
Most weight lost in shortest time.
No, that went to the cheeky girls.
Oh, did it?
Oh, they're too thin.
Were they there?
Well, when they lift up their arm, it's you like looking at it's. There's nothing there. You know, it's just bone. It's like the bit of turkey you don't want. You know, it's like a couple of partridge noses. What are they called? No, what are those parts?
The parson's nose.
The parson's, like 2 parson's noses in slinky dresses walking in.
Oh dear.
There really is not enough of them. Bless them.
So not sex on legs like me and Ruby on Comic Relief.
You
then.
know, well, no, I'm still recovering from that.
Many people are.
It wasn't so much.
Don't, Jonathan.
What?
Don't go there. Go there. Go on.
It's
Then.
only because they clearly both given you both shorts that didn't fit.
No.
Yes, they didn't fit you the shorts properly.
Yes, I had one of the cheeky girls' pair of shorts. Obviously, the real one.
On as an armband. You wouldn't be able to get it over your arm. I tell you, I don't think it
Over
would fit
my
around my
toe.
wrist. What's going on?
What do you think their waists are then? About 18.
I think even that is probably giving them a couple of
Oh,
extra inches.
God.
You know, I bet you they weigh about 3 stone each. I can't do metric.
No, I can't either.
I'm hoping for a turkey bigger than both of them this year. We're back to that.
Yeah.
But they've
We
got
are.
another hit record. Can you believe it?
Have they?
Yeah, they've got another hit.
Oh, what is it called?
Cheeky Christmas, probably, isn't it?
Touch what used to be my bum, presumably, before I went on the Atkins. Joe's got a DVD out. We're just waffling it, but let's talk about this in a minute. We'll play a track. But Joe, best female comic in Britain, bar none.
Who said that?
The Mirror.
Oh.
But I think that's...
Did you think they did really, or did you think it was possibly
made up
your
or something.
manager who said it?
Can you do that? If you buy space in a newspaper, like an advert, and just write and say, and write at the top in very small letters like, "Look, this is an advert," and then write something nice about yourself, can you then quote that back as it appeared in that
I
newspaper?
reckon you could do.
It's not a bad plan, is it? No. Maybe Candy Staton should do that about her new single.
This
But I
is
think that's,
good.
but isn't that oddly kind of dismissive, saying best female comic? It's like saying you're not as good as the men. It's almost like saying we're in a separate
Yeah,
category.
absolutely.
I think, without doubt, one of the best comics in the country. That's what we should be saying.
Well, I don't know.
Yes. Oh, don't do yourself down.
I'm not particularly.
Just say,
I'm
yes,
just-
I am.
Yes, I am.
That's what we want to hear. Let's have a track. We'll talk to Joe about the DVD after this. That's Ruby Turner with Jules Holland,
Yeah.
coincidentally enough. I imagine you did that on purpose.
I did indeed.
Jules Holland's Hootenannies, of course, on New Year's Eve on BBC Two. It's always a fantastic way to spend the evening, I think.
Indeed, it is.
Great music, and they're all doing their greatest hits, and Desmond Decker dressed as a gorilla for some reason, reminding us of this
A
season.
guerrilla, not a gorilla,
a guerrilla.
as Angela Rippon used to say.
Joe Brand, Barely Live, is a DVD out. I have a free copy here, which I will be giving to someone for Christmas after I've watched it, but certainly it would make the ideal gift.
We
for
got one
someone
for the
who likes to
competition as well.
laugh. And this was because you had a sellout tour at Edinburgh this year. You did a sellout period there, didn't you?
Ish.
No, you see, there you go again. What you mean, ish, meaning it was near Edinburgh or nearly sold out?
Nearly sold out.
So-
There's no point pretending it completely sold out and bigging yourself up that way, is there?
I suppose not.
People like to know you're human.
Yeah.
I don't like this when people go, you know, like you see a list of people's tours and it's slapped sold out, sold out, sold out.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just to make people think.
No, hold on,
that
I
they're
didn't know
really-
that. I work in the business, I didn't realise that.
Yes.
And here's the thing, when I would see that, I used to think, why they bother advertising? And it used to annoy me that they were showing me I couldn't go and see them. So it kind of worked against them there.
No, it's that they use that to make you think, oh, they're sold out.
They're popular.
So they'll probably be putting in some extra dates. And then you ring up and they go, oh, yes, we do happen to have a few left on that night.
Ah, you see how it's working?
Yeah.
I didn't realise it. It's almost sinister.
It is sinister.
And what sort of people would be doing this?
What?
Who would be behind?
Do you know someone called Addison Cresswell?
Agents would be doing
managers.
This. We're saying this, of course, because Joe shares an agent with me.
Yes,
Addison
and you were
Cresswell
telling a
was
little story about him on your TV show. And I was like, what, going to the pictures with you?
Can you imagine going to the pictures with him?
No, I think you were foolish in the extreme to do it in the first
I
place.
went once before and he sat behind a very nice woman who's a critic for The Independent, and all through the movie he kept going, he's rubbish. Oh, look at that, he's a bad guy. And at one stage she turned around and said, I'm sorry, could you get him to shut up?
Did she?
What's that, mate? He's got a gun. Like that. During JFK, I don't know who did it. Someone's done it, I don't know who. In Lord of the Rings, Merlin walks in. Not Merlin, no, that's the other one, isn't it? Lord of the Rings, Gandalf walks in the room and went, hello. Why would you do that? Why would you? It's all going to go off before the big bat. It's all going to kick off in a minute. Yes, of course it is. We've spent 3 movies getting to this point. It's good versus evil. Watch it. It's all going to
It
happen.
must have been like having a kind of 7-year-old child with you
It was.
in some ways.
There was one, I think it was the king. There was one king who's lost his way a bit morally, and his son, he finds that his son's dead, he's wrecked, and Addison lent him in, he went, he's not happy. Of course he's not happy. He opened a bottle of fizzy water on stage very flamboyantly. We're trying to enjoy a lovely moment of the year. Psh! He nudged me in the elbows. Want some? No, I'm fine, thanks. Trying to watch a movie.
That'd be a great DVD, like an extra, with Addison commentating all the way through it.
But you know, that's one of the reasons why you should not buy those bootleg DVDs. Because I got given one once for someone I didn't know it was a bootleg, and it was an American comedy that I had to review. And he said, no, I've got it on DVD, borrow my copy. I said, and obviously someone had just taken a camera into a movie house and filmed it in the States, because halfway through the film, I'm watching this at home, and I thought, you can hear laughter. What's going on? Someone stood up in front of him and went out the toilet. I've actually got
Fantastic.
this, which actually made
That's
the film
what mine's
slightly funny.
DVD's like.
Artfully brought back round to it.
Yeah, hurrah.
So what do you do on the new tour then? What sort of material are we doing? Because I know, presumably, this was largely new stuff.
Largely being the
Newish.
operative word. Well, apparently I didn't know this either. To do a DVD or video, 75% of the material on it has to be new.
Oh, really?
That's quite interesting, isn't
Yeah, I
it?
didn't know that.
And it's less than I would have thought. Yes, it is mostly new.
Is there like a DVD ombudsman who sits down with a little clock and who's familiar with your career and goes,
Goes-
no, I've heard that one before. That's not
Exactly.
new.
Goes through your old one.
Tick in a
just
box.
Checks it out, exactly.
New, old, newish.
Mostly new.
Do you sort of go a bit further, knowing it's being recorded for DVD, though? Do you push it a bit further?
Yes, there's some quite very extremely rude stuff on the DVD extras bit.
Because I know Bob Monkhouse years ago bought a DVD out and someone told me that to get a kind of adult rating for it, which helps sell, and the material was fairly clean, he just bought a stripper out at the end.
I did that as well.
Hey!
Hey.
We've got to go to the news. When we come back, we'll talk to Joe some more. 88 to 91 FM, this is Radio 2 from the BBC. Iggy and the Stooges. Iggy and the Stooges.
It's got
Iggy
a sort
Pop
of
and
festive
the
feel
Stooges.
to that, because it sounds like there's little
Sleigh
jingle bells in the background.
That's the alternative number one for
Yeah.
Christmas. We have with
Well,
us...
what's going to be number one then, do you think?
Well,
for
we think
Christmas?
tomorrow it's Ozzy and Kelly, don't we?
Ozzy and Kelly, yeah, but Christmas, I don't know.
Well, it might
Pop
say-
Idol.
It's a lovely song.
Pop Idol doing Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, War is Over.
Oh, yes, of
which
course.
is just an
That's
insult,
bizarre,
really,
that.
isn't it?
But what do they mean war is over? I mean, they're no longer under the tyranny boot heel of Simon Cowell. Is that
that's
what
what
it
it
means?
is, yeah.
Tyrannical.
Maybe they're talking about Iraq.
Yeah, that's what you can imagine. They spend a lot of time thinking about Iraq.
Yeah, I know.
Bless them. Joe Brand has a DVD out for Christmas. I guess that's why it's out from now, is it? It's a kind of
Oh, I
Christmas gift
think
thing.
it probably has been organised with that in mind.
Barely
yeah.
live. It's a 15 certificate. I'm warning you now, in case there's anyone who's not yet turned 15.
Right.
If they're watching it nearby, you have to cover their ears and hustle them out the room. We were just chatting while the record was on about our children, about, little girls and their love of soft, pink, frilly things and dolls and toys, and Barbie came up.
Yes.
And I wondered whether your children have been Barbified yet.
They're not really old enough, thankfully. I mean, I think at this age they could be Barbified if I'd sort of encouraged it.
How old is the eldest one?
2.5.
Yeah, so she's 2.5. You're right, really. They haven't.
She's on the cusp.
It's a difficult choice.
I know. She's into train sets and that at the moment,
Well, that's a
which
good
I
thing.
really like, yeah.
Yeah, and is she? Do you think you're going to let her have a Barbie though? I mean, where do you stand on the great Barbie debate?
Well, I think, because with me, I wasn't allowed to have one, you see. And I think if you deny children things, it makes them seem more exciting. So I'd let her have one if she wanted one.
Yeah.
I would just be rather dismissive of it.
You just sort of say, "Oh, you got that." Let's
You're
have a
not
look.
playing with that dull old Barbie.
You know, but there were nice sort of alternatives. There are these little dolls called Groovy Girls, which are really soft and lovely.
Yes, they are. They are great, and they've got nice accessories with them.
Lovely. Oh, I like.
I've got a few of those, I tell you.
I'm thinking of expanding my range. I like the Bratz dolls as well because they've got strange-shaped heads. They look like the Sugar Babes.
I've not seen them.
You know the way Mutia from the Sugar Babes has got a slightly almond-shaped head and almond-shaped eyes. Everything about her is almond-shaped, I believe. And
Really?
The Bratz dolls look like that, yeah. Well, yeah. I've made an extensive study of dolls. Next time you're buying a doll, call me first.
I will do.
I do have my finger on the pulse. See, the Barbie, they've brought out a range called My Scene dolls for people who don't want them to be quite as Barbie-like, but they're kind of halfway between a Barbie and a Brat, and they're good.
How do you know all this?
Because I don't have a life.
Do you read it somewhere?
No, I look in toy shops quite often.
right.
Yeah. I like a
See,
toy.
I don't ever go to toy shops.
Okay, well, here's the deal.
Right.
I'll do the toy shopping for our
Great.
families.
What would you like me to do? The food shopping.
You do-
Organise you a nice sort of hair cut with it, so you look like you've got a small bird
like
on
a
your
chicken
head.
on your head. Well, we found out, I'm excited to know that you can get a halal turkey.
Ah, have you?
Yeah, a listener called Nigrat has written in, and thank you, Nigrat, for this, and he said you can't get a halal pig, of course, because pork is forbidden in Islam. I told you that. But they don't favour the turkey,
You
they
two
find
have
it a bit dry.
extensive knowledge of the religious customs of different cultures.
We like to think of ourselves as leaders. Yeah, spiritual leaders. That's what people turn to this show for on Saturday morning.
Yes, I have heard that.
Those who can't be buggered to go to church, tune in here, and you're absolved of all your sins right here. I'm going to watch this. I've got some DVDs. I'm going to settle down and have a comedy night at home.
Don't feel you've got to watch that.
I don't feel I have
Jonathan.
to. I would like to watch
all
it.
right.
I like seeing you live. You always make me laugh.
Well,
I've got
that's-
this, Johnny Vegas' DVD out. I'm going to have a good evening in. It's going to be fun. Peter Kay. He's got one out.
He has.
Ricky Gervais has got one out, but that won't be funny.
Animals.
Yeah.
Yes, let's not.
That won't be.
But no, he's a very funny man.
Yeah, but
so
probably
it
not
might
gonna
be
do-
a bit
no.
funny.
Probably won't be. Probably be finally the old emperor's new clothes. Everyone's sitting there, a bit quiet, saying, "Oh, that's not very good." No, he's naked, really.
Yeah.
He's naked without the little beard and the, and the funny bloke with the silly haircut. Let's have another record. What do you got, Andy?
I've got the Gary Jules track, the Mad World track that we like.
This could be a number one. Are you familiar with this,
What
Joe?
is this again?
This was from the film Donnie Darko,
Right.
and it was a kind of version of the Tears for Fears track, which was a bit more bombastic when it was overproduced
What's
in
the
the
track
80s.
called again?
Mad World.
I can
Oh,
play the
right.
beginning of this on piano.
Go on then.
Okay, here we go. Can you pick this up? Okay, here we go.
Pick that up.
No. Oh, no, I've got it.
That's remarkable.
It's not bad, is it?
That's not bad at all. It has got the lightness of touch of a 7-year-old. But
It's not
apart
bad.
from
Come on,
that,
someone who
you
hasn't
just-
even passed his grade 1 yet, I think that's pretty good.
Are you learning the piano?
Sort of.
Should we compare it with the...
Summer's Day.
I don't think people need to hear that now, frankly. I think they've had their little dose of Mad's World. Oh, bung it on then. That is beautiful, though, isn't it?
is, yeah.
That is beautiful. Mildly depressing, of course, but then sometimes this time of year it's quite good to get a little bit depressed. Then you look out the window and think, oh, I'll cheer myself out and go and buy a Barbie. Perhaps.
Perhaps, yeah.
Joe Brand, as I said, she has a DVD out for Christmas called Barely Live. I would have thought an ideal gift for perhaps a matronly aunt.
Yes. One who drinks a lot and lives alone.
And wears tweed.
Yes,
And has got dogs.
definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect.
Have you got a stalker now? Is this right, that you have a stalker of sorts?
Of sorts. I have a stalker who's a bit fed up with me because I never do anything. Who knows? Because I think if you're going to stalk someone, it's nice if they're active.
Yeah.
It's better to stalk. I mean, not that I'm recommending it, but better to stalk someone like Kylie,
Yeah.
who's quite fit.
She's always doing
More
videos
ways
as
than
well.
I-
And
always dancing along, always going down the shops.
Yeah.
Whereas with me, you see, I very rarely go out, and if I do, I go in the car. And they don't really have time to keep up with me. I think you need to have a particular sort of life. I did have a sort of weird stalker once who was on telly, actually, stalking someone else, which I was rather upset about. He
Right,
was
well,
doing
that's
two of us.
two-timing you.
One in Colchester and me in South London.
It must have been kind of a hell to organise and schedule, I would have thought.
Well, I would have thought so, because apparently he was phoning this woman in Colchester 300 times a day. So how he had time to write to me in a rather bizarre Dickensian kind of copper plate writing. And
So it's a big
slight
swirly
curve in
letters.
it. Yes,
Yeah. I love that, though. Did you ever speak to... This was a male stalker, was it?
it was.
Did you ever speak to him about...
No.
I met...
Well, obviously, when we got married, I started to think, ha, sorry, what a terrible,
no, it was good.
predictable comedy.
I had a conversation with a bloke who was sending me weird letters for ages.
You had a male stalker.
Yeah, he wasn't really a stalker, though. I think he thought that I was someone who was either a kindred spirit, perhaps, who he could... and this happens quite a lot. People have heard my work, obviously, associating that way. And he wrote long letters saying... And they kind of alluded to something big happening, some change. I couldn't tell whether it was a spiritual shift or whether it was God coming back, or it was something, the Son of God returning. There's this big thing happening and you know all about it. And I'd be lumped together with the weirdest of people. It's all the stuff like, I've written to you, Angela Rippon, Bruce Forsyth, and of course Nick Ross. And Philip Schofield was always on the list as well. And it was like we were always lumped together. And one day, just before a show, and I used to read the letters, which is probably not that wise. They were often 7 or 8 pages long.
I think it's probably better not to read them sometimes.
But I found them grimly fascinating. Anyway, one day, just before I was about to do a live TV show, the phone went and said, we've got someone said he needs to speak to you. It's so and I recognised the voice, the name. Didn't know where from. I said, I'll put him through. And he went, hello, Jonathan. I went, hi, how are you? He went, is it Jonathan? I said, he said, I'm actually speaking to you. I said, yeah, sorry. I said, I know your name. I'm not sure where from. He said, I've been sending you the letters. I went, right. And he went, do you know what they're about? I went, can I be honest with you? I had no idea. And there was a gap, and he went, all right then, sorry to bother you. That was it. He never sent me another one.
That's brilliant, though.
It was gone. He was quite happy. I was quite happy. We solved the issue. There you go. So they're maybe not as...
If only it was that simple.
I'm not saying it is, and I'm not trying to make light of those people who do have a hard time.
Of course.
Joe, I guess you've got to get home and look after the kids, haven't you?
Well, I've got to get home and lie down because I'm feeling dead
you
rough,
poor thing.
actually. That's why my hair looks like it. I'm not going to hark on about this chicken head, but I realise that I have, in a way, mentioned it quite a lot. But obviously, because I'm not well, it looks like a chicken rather than kind of a Shirley Bassey.
I have a lovely idea for you. Let's turn your hair disadvantage to an advantage, okay? Let's turn it from a hair dump to a hair do.
Go on, then.
Let's get let's send out for a Christmas cake. One of those ones that has a log on it with a robin on.
And put some decorations on my head.
If you had a couple of robins in your hair right now, it would look like they'd nested there. It would look beautiful.
Because it looks like a chicken, shouldn't I just stuff it with a bit of Paxo?
I don't know whether he'd be happy with that, would he, old Jeremy?
Well, Jonathan, you are the king of comedy.
Well, I'm one of them. I don't know, maybe I'm the Archduke. Joe, have a lovely Christmas if I don't see you before.
Indeed, I will, and you too, and well done on your comedy.
Thank you very much.
Much deserved.
Thank you, that's very kind.
Everybody says, except a few.
It was for the whole show, it wasn't just for me, it was for the programme, and obviously it's mainly me, but, there are some other people who apparently work on it. Joe, have a great Christmas.
I will, you too, thanks.
Take care.